Golden Crown on Stage: How Jimin's masterpiece transformed the ARIRANG World Tour into pop history. There comes a moment when music ceases to be mere sound traveling through the air. There comes a night when a stadium becomes so much more than just a concert venue. Foxborough Night 2. Under the cold Massachusetts night sky, as the arena lights dimmed and a sea of purple glow stretched as far as the eye could see, a solitary artist stepped into the center of the stage. Long, golden blonde hair, elegantly tied back with a delicate hair ribbon. A striking visual that instantly left tens of thousands in the stadium and millions across the globe completely breathless. This was not just a simple change in appearance. It was not merely a quick styling session before stepping onto the stage. This was a declaration of art. A crown of freedom sculpted by the artistic vision of a dreamer, Park Jimin. Welcome back to Infinity Burahi, channel where we dive deep into every footprint, feeling, and visual masterpiece of BTS with boundless storytelling. Today, we are not just talking about a concert tour. We are unpacking one of the most extraordinary visual phenomena in the history of modern K-pop performance. How a single blonde hairstyle in Foxboro turned into a global sensation, and how Park Jimin's audacity transformed every single second of the ARIRANG World Tour into an everlasting monument of aesthetics. Take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let us immerse ourselves in the story behind the beauty that captivated the world. Foxboro, the second night of the concert. A night that will forever be recorded in fan community history as one of the most legendary visual turning points. When Jimin appeared on stage, the reaction was not merely applause. It was an eruption of collective euphoria. His long blonde hair was crafted with such intricate care, held together by a subtle ribbon that wrapped around it with effortless grace. That styling did not just tidy his hair, it framed his features with a sharp, almost unreal symmetry. Photos and video recordings from that night spread like wildfire across every social media network. Instagram, TikTok, and international discussion forums were instantly flooded with stills and clips from the Foxboro stage. Fans and fashion commentators alike rushed to express their sheer awe. How could a single detail, like a delicate ribbon woven through long blonde hair, magnify an artist's stage presence to such an extraordinary degree? That reaction was far deeper than superficial admiration for physical appearance. It was an emotional response to witnessing pure, unadulterated beauty. Fans from every corner of the globe expressed the exact same wish. They wanted to see Jimin continue exploring, breaking boundaries, and surprising the world with similar experiments throughout the rest of the tour. Foxboro was no longer just another stop on a tour itinerary. Foxboro had been transformed by Jimin into an aesthetic monument. Yet, there is a narrative far deeper than what meets the eye on stage. According to passionate discussions within the fan community, this long blonde concept was not forced upon him by a styling team. This was not a calculated marketing tactic concocted in an agency boardroom. This was a personal vision, a creative direction that Park Jimin personally wanted to explore and experience for himself. In an entertainment industry that often confines artists within rigid boxes of public expectation, Jimin's decision to take complete ownership of his visual identity was an act of profound courage. Think about that for a moment. When a superstar at the pinnacle of global fame decides to dramatically reinvent his image driven entirely by his own inner impulse, he is not just changing his hair. He is delivering a narrative of liberation. He is saying to the world, "This is my canvas and I hold the brush." For his devoted supporters, the fact that this concept stemmed from Jimin's own desire made every single strand of blonde hair feel immensely more meaningful. It was no longer just hair extensions or a temporary style. It was a symbol of artistic maturity. A statement from a global icon who no longer follows trends but creates them. And that is where the true magic of the ARIRANG World Tour lies. Jimin did not simply show up with one long hairstyle and repeat it night after night. No, that would be far too predictable for a creator of beauty like Park Jimin. In every city, on every stage, he presented a fresh variation that kept evolving. Let us recall how he played with those aesthetic boundaries. On one night, he appeared with elegant half-up braids. Portions of his blonde hair were delicately braided at the top, while the rest fell freely over his shoulders. He looked like a prince stepped straight out of ancient mythology. Every time he spun through fluid contemporary dance moves, his braided hair caught the stage lights, creating the illusion of woven golden threads dancing in the air. On another night, the arena's atmosphere shifted dramatically into something raw and intense. Jimin emerged with soft rock star waves. His blonde hair was styled in tousled, effortless waves, glistening slightly under the heat of the stage lights. This look summoned his untamed energy and the rock star soul dwelling within him. When he tilted his head back and tossed his hair, the light struck those moving waves, creating a visual surge that made the entire stadium thunder. Then, when the emotional ballads began to play, Jimin transformed into a figure of cool, pristine elegance with sleek, straight styling. His long blonde hair was straightened to perfection, framing his face with captivating sharpness. Within the simplicity of that straight look lied an undeniable regal sophistication. As he hit the high notes with his eyes closed, his straight hair mirrored the emotional weight of his voice with majestic stillness. And of course, we cannot forget the commanding presence of braided slicked-back hair. The front section was pulled back tightly into sharp braids, fully revealing his sculpted jawline and features. This look radiated authority, strength, and the undeniable charisma of a modern stage warrior. These variations were not mere wardrobe changes. They were character metamorphoses. Jimin proved that his long blonde hair was a living canvas, and he was the master artist continually painting new colors upon it. Why did Jimin's styling during the ARIRANG World Tour leave such a lasting impression? The answer lies in the seamless harmony between fashion, choreography, and stage presentation. In high-level performance art, no single element exists in isolation. And Jimin is a master at weaving all these elements into one cohesive body language. As a dancer trained in contemporary dance, Jimin deeply understands how physical forces operate on stage. He knows how every part of his body responds to momentum and weight. When he dances with long hair, the hair itself becomes an extension of his physical movement. When he executes a rapid pirouette, his blonde hair flares out, forming a golden halo in the air. When he drops down sharply into a beat, the snap of his hair adds dramatic emphasis to the rhythm of the music. Even when he stands perfectly still at the edge of the stage with a gentle breeze blowing, every moving strand breathes life into that moment of quietness. His stage attire, whether crafted from silk, leather, or accented with fine jewelry, blended seamlessly with the texture of his blonde hair. Fashion and movement intertwined as one. Jimin was not simply singing songs on stage. He was bringing a living art installation to life right before our eyes. The impact of Jimin's appearance in Foxborough and throughout the ARIRANG World Tour transcended the boundaries of K-pop. The international fashion world took immediate notice. Style critics and professional hairstylists continuously discussed this visual transformation. Why? Because Jimin consistently dismantles conventional ideas of beauty and masculinity. Long blonde hair on a male performer is often viewed as a risky choice. Yet in the hands of Park Jimin, this style became a new benchmark for modern masculinity, graceful, dynamic, and captivating. He demonstrated that power and delicacy can coexist within a single artist. Hashtags celebrating his looks consistently trended worldwide after every show. He did not just inspire his fans, he influenced the direction of global stage aesthetics. Looking back at Jimin's journey, we see the long evolution of a young artist who once pushed himself relentlessly, maturing into a fully realized creator. On the ARIRANG World Tour stage, we no longer see just a precise dancer or a gifted vocalist. We see a free artist. That long blonde hair is the symbol of his inner liberation. He is no longer chasing perfection to satisfy external expectations. He creates beauty because his soul thrives within the art itself. True creativity is born from the courage to embrace oneself fully. And through his visual journey in Foxboro and across this tour, Jimin has shown us that the highest form of beauty emerges when an artist dares to be authentically themselves. The ARIRANG World Tour continues, and we will always eagerly await whatever visual magic Park Jimin's boldness brings to future stages. Will he return to the elegant ribbon styling of Foxboro? Or will he introduce a completely new variation we have yet to imagine? One thing is certain, his willingness to innovate will always be the reason he stands as one of the world's most influential performers. How about you at Infinity Burahi? Of all the long blonde variations Jimin has shown us so far, which one left the deepest impression on you? Was it the delicate ribbon tie in Foxboro? Or the wild energy of the rock star waves? Share your thoughts and memories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep and emotional storytelling, please leave a like, share this video with fellow fans, and make sure to subscribe to Infinity Burahi so we can continue celebrating these artistic milestones together. Thank you for listening to the end. Keep celebrating beauty and see you in the next video. Burahi.